Welcome. It's another edition of the Honor Series of the Citi Business Festival 2026 here on 97.3 FM and Channel 1 Television. This year's edition of the Citi Business Festival is powered by 97.3 Citi FM and Channel 1 Television in partnership with Absa Bank. We are sponsored by Absa Bank, MTN, Zonatech Ghana Limited and Petra Trust. I am Ni Latte. Welcome to today's edition. This week, we are focusing on the key drivers of Ghana's economy, the high-impact sectors, as well as the opportunities that lie in the value chain. Today, we are coming your way with another exciting edition, this time around on energy, utilities, and the cost of doing business.
You need a bigger space to grow your business. You need to be ready for any season.
You need faster checkouts for these busy days.
You need more equipment to meet demand.
You need to make sure everyone gets paid on time.
In business, you need advice, solutions, and sector expertise when it matters.
Your new office space looks great. What's next?
We get it. Absa Business Banking.
Well, hello again. My name is Ni Latte. Why our business is focusing largely on electricity tariffs, what are the power supply challenges they are facing, and even how do these outages affect overall production and the cost of doing business? These are all questions we are answering today on the Honor Series of the Citi Business Festival. My guest is Kobina Eric Nyanteh. He is executive member of the Association of Ghana Industries, that's AGI, and also the CEO of Translight Solar Limited. Mr. Nyanteh, good to have you on the show today. Welcome. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, and thank you for inviting me.
I see. You hold a very important position at the AGI Energy.
That's right. That's right. We help to make sure that we're shaping policy on the energy sector.
I see. And as fate will have it, you also run a business in the energy space, Translight Solar Limited.
I think there has to be some alternatives to the grid. So solar energy is very important.
Indeed.
That's right.
Welcome again.
Thank you very much.
Energy, utilities, and the cost of doing business. That's our topic for today. And I just want to quickly take you back to the economics class, because basic economics will tell you that there are 4 factors of production: land, capital, labor, and even entrepreneurship. So one will ask, where is energy, utilities coming in the equation?
So thank you very much for the question, a very, very important question, and a good day to your cherished viewers. So energy comes in because these days all the equipment and appliances that we use are powered by electricity, and also other forms of utilities, maybe gas and other fuels, other forms of fuel. But the most important part is that because of the fact that our lifestyles, or the equipment and the machines that we use these days are powered by electricity and other forms of energy, energy becomes a core part of the production of our goods and services. And it depends on the sector that you're looking at. When you're looking at maybe, let's say, a restaurant, you know, their energy, the cost of component of electricity could be low. It could be anything around 5 to 10%, and other utilities could be within the same range. Around water could be about the same range, or probably even lower. But when you look at other things like people who are into manufacturing, and especially when the machines that they are using tend to be of thermal, like a plastic industry that is trying to heat some appliances, the cost of electricity goes way higher. It could be as high as 40%. So manufacturing would normally range between 15 to 40%. And
15 to 40%.
That's
significant in terms of cost of production.
That is very significant in terms of the cost of production.
Which is why it matters to you most as manufacturers, isn't it?
Exactly. And that is why within the AGI, a lot of other companies, look at alternatives to the grid, because sometimes you can get it cheaper using, other forms of electricity, like electricity from solar energy. But we can get into that as the discussion progresses.
Hold on for me. We are talking about energy and utilities. I know energy is one aspect of the utility.
That's right.
Right. So when we say utilities in production, what are we talking about? Having laid a foundation for energy as one component of it. What are the others?
So you talk about water, you talk about other forms of fuel, you talk about gas, you talk about diesel, and then of course the electricity itself. All these are different forms of utilities that can go into production.
I see. So why does it matter to you most? Is it because of access? Is it because of production levels? Or is it because of its impact on production really? I really want to get this part of the conversation.
So when you get into the entire cost of production, just like you started with, right? So you have other forms, other components like the cost of material, labor, and all those other components, right? The increase in the cost of any of those components, would tend to increase the cost of the product.
Okay.
And the cost of products, are elastic. You cannot. Let's say you are, in the restaurant business, you're selling food. The fact that your electricity bill has increased does not mean that you can, or your water bill has increased, does not mean that you can automatically pass it on to the consumer. Because the consumer has alternatives. If the cost of your food increases, they can go to another place, right? And so we have to make sure that it is extremely important, because you have to make sure that you're managing all these costs as a total cost of production, so that you can actually be able to maintain a certain price, of the products and remain competitive, especially in an economy where we have importation of goods and can actually compete with your goods and services, unfortunately. That's right.
It's good you've mentioned that for people running small businesses, this energy or utility bit of it will amount to about 5 to 7% of their total cost of production. For those in heavy areas, almost 50%, which is half.
It could be about 40%.
I see. But now that you have access to energy or even these utilities that you talk about, what comes next? Is it reliability or what you pay for it? I want to really understand it. Okay,
so that's an excellent question. But I think it is important to go back a little bit, and then we'll look at maybe laser focus a little bit more on electricity.
Okay.
And look at how we get electricity today.
Right.
So today we get electricity mostly. You get electricity from our hydro. That's our dams, Akosombo Dam and other Bui Dam, and then we also get electricity from our thermal plants. Right. As of today, much of our thermal plants are running a total of about 70% of the total energy electricity that we get. Our peak is anywhere around 5,000 megawatt. Our total capacity of electricity installed is about 5,000 megawatt.
So that's the installed capacity.
Installed capacity. Okay. And then you have actually about 4,000 megawatt as the peak load, right? But you know that because thermal is about 70%, you need to buy fuel. Okay, you have to buy gas or diesel, depending upon how you are producing, which thermal plants you're talking about. So in that mix, because you can have some thermal plants down, you might not be able to get to the peak. So at peak demand, you probably might not have the entire generation in place to be able to service the grid. So that is the first challenge that we have when it comes to reliability. That is that the amount of energy we need to even meet the peak demand is not available. Then we go into transmission. After the energy is generated, now we have to transmit it over about 500 kilometers, of transmission lines to get to the substations, right? All these also has bottlenecks and then energy losses. Then you get to the substations, and then it has to be distributed to your home. So you see that there are transformers on poles that actually run the electricity either to the factory or to your home, right? All these things can also can also go off, right? So you have those challenges there. So you look at the transmission of energy from obtaining electricity from generation to getting it to the factory or to the home, and you see all these challenges. And that leads directly to the question of reliability. And then, so now the challenge that you have is that when the grid becomes unreliable, whether due to generation or transmission or distribution, a lot of companies suffer. The extent to which the burden is experienced depends upon the sector.
Okay.
If it is a healthcare and it's an emergency, it is more dire. It is more serious. If it is more of an issue of maybe a restaurant, maybe they have a hotel, maybe they have some time to get alternatives, right? And so the reliability eventually could increase the cost of production depending upon the alternatives that the businesses use. If they are using alternatives of diesel generators, which most companies use, their cost could actually go up, can go higher, especially when there are longer periods of power outages. If they have a carefully designed, reliable source of power like solar energy with a battery, their cost can actually go down. So the question of reliability leads to a very important question, and that is companies and households now have to look critically at alternative sources of energy so that they can actually brace themselves to, number one, control the cost of their production, the cost of their products, and remain competitive.
I see. Really interesting points that you make in there. But I also see it as a very complex scenario, right from the word go. If there is issue with generation, transmission fails, and then also distribution becomes a problem, which is why most of you are looking at alternatives. But before we look at the alternatives, you've spoken a lot about how this particular breakdown in energy transmission affects profitability. What does the picture look like when it comes to productivity?
Actually, it gets worse. So now we have a methodology of assessing the cost of electricity that comes from PRC. The first challenge that we have is that the outlook between 2026 and 2030, at least for the next 5 years, indicates that we are actually rather going to increase the number or the amount of thermal plants that we have from 70% to 80%, which means that we should brace ourselves for buying more gas or preparing for more gas and also buying more fuel for our thermal plants. Now, our hydro will now reduce to about 20%. I would have loved to see a scenario in which we are doing more utility scale renewable energy, especially solar energy, and that is in the pipeline, but the numbers are not looking aggressive enough. And so we're going to see more movement towards the thermal plants than And so when you look at the quarterly price adjustments for utilities, I mean, in May 2025, last year, we saw an increase in electricity tariff around 14%. On January 1st, we saw another increase around 9%. All these things are based upon the fact that we are moving more towards the need for getting more fossil fuel to power our thermal plants, right? And so in that scenario, we're going to gradually see, it's more than likely that we're going to gradually see an increase in the cost of electricity. And so the best thing for most companies to do is to seriously consider alternatives, like I said, to be able to stabilize the cost of their electricity and the power itself.
Amazing. Kobina Eric Nyanteh is executive member of the AGI on Energy and also CEO of Translight Solar Limited. He's my guest today on the honor series of the Citi Business Festival. We have more to learn from him. Don't go away. We're back after this.
Mesaka, and Nemum was a summer brabo, and it can afford swab
Mesaka pensions, Carol.
Mesaka order sika.
Mesaka insurance.
Mesaka loan.
Momo Fogusuri echumaden, the aboye nina ye sika hubai. Se MTN. Ana Momo Jumayeni Befrewa or the 0244 300,000 and a befrew. Nenumpo orin bitsao one time password. Ana se upin code 80 wonso yawa femuji na ma weni na ho na wonsa enka omo.
Looking for power, performance, or pure driving comfort? Looking for strength for your business or style for your lifestyle? Welcome to Zondatech Ghana Limited, your one-stop automobile shop. From heavy-duty trucks built with global powerhouse Sinotrack to premium SUVs and pickups from Great Wall Motors and Cherry. From light-duty commercial trucks to world-class construction equipment from Shantui and Sunny Group, Zondatech delivers top-most quality brands with affordable luxury. Zondatech gives you power, prestige, and performance all in one place. Strong, reliable, affordable. Zondatech Ghana Limited. Drive the future. Call Zondatech on 050-177-2222 or 050-177-3333.
You're welcome back. This is still the honor series of the Citi Business Festival 2026 right here on 97.3 Citi FM. As well as Channel 1 Television. I am Ni Lati. My guest is Kobina Eric Nyanteh, executive member of the AGI on Energy and also the CEO of Translight Solar Limited. Mr. Nyanteh, let's continue the conversation this time around, looking at the alternatives that you have been talking about. Are we looking at efficiency upgrades? Are we still looking at the renewables that you talk about and even the role of backup systems? When you are done, then you give me the practical steps that businesses can adopt to ensure that they reduce significantly this high energy cost we are talking about.
Yeah, that is two good questions in one, right? All right. So, what alternatives do businesses have? I think that most businesses, the first form of alternative normally is a generator. Normally, we use a lot of diesel generators. A lot of companies also use the gas generator. So most companies are using the diesel generators. The challenge with using diesel generators is that you tend to always have to service them and also have to buy fuel. There are other business models where the provider of the thermal plant even supplies the fuel, weekly, monthly basis to ensure that the plants are always working. And then now with the advancements in solar technology, a lot of companies are also migrating to solar energy. There are two forms. Usually companies will do solar systems just purely for the cost of the reduction of electricity. That is, we started by talking about the controlling the cost of production. And so customers will do, a lot of manufacturers and companies will do solar just to be able to reduce the cost of electricity. When they do that, then there is not the addition of batteries to the design of the solar system. But for hospitals, hotels, and other companies also, they prefer to ensure that there is backup power. And so the backup power would be ensuring that they have batteries, sometimes very large batteries, to make sure that they are storing electricity so that when there is even a power outage, they can actually rely on the backup power to ensure, which in some cases, the entire design of the solar system and the battery makes that entire component even cheaper than getting power from the grid, you know, when it is designed properly. Right?
I was actually coming to that about which option works best for which company. Does it depend on the sector you find yourself in or the size of the company? I think you've mentioned illustrating with the hotel and hospitality industry. So to my question about the practical steps that businesses must adopt, what are the do's, what are the don'ts if I want to reduce the high energy costs as a business?
Yes. That's an excellent question. Yeah. So now, what most companies do is to jump straight, you know, to getting an alternative source of electricity. Most of the time, that probably is not the best or the fastest solution. It is best to look at energy efficiency, ensuring that if it is air conditions that you're using or chillers that you're using, that they are highly efficient systems. It is always good to ensure that the motors that are being used are advanced motors, or they require less or little energy, you know, to get the same efficiency that you need. It is important to check to ensure that almost all the equipment that you're using are highly efficient, and that even in terms of efficiency, the buildings that you are running in are designed to be energy efficient, right? When you do that, you actually automatically reduce the amount of energy that you need. And that actually means that you don't have to actually supply all that energy. Once you've done that, then it is important that you look at alternatives to further reduce the cost. And that is when solar energy comes in, the addition of batteries come in, and renewable energy comes in, right? So it is not always the best to just go straight for solar energy or go straight for an alternative. It is always better to be able to reduce the cost by improving upon the efficiency and then adding on an alternative form of energy.
But can a business reduce energy costs without, compromising on productivity and output? Is that possible?
Reduce business costs without compromising on...
Yes, so can you...
Of course. Yes, for any investment, what is most important to calculate is the return on investment. So if somebody looks at, let's say, changing machines, and they look at the investment that is coming from changing the machines, then you can easily calculate that, okay, these older machines that I'm using, the amount of electricity I'm using is probably 40%. If I bought, newer machines, I will start using electricity, a cost of component of electricity reduces to 20%. So immediately there's a 20% savings. And so there is the initial investment on the machines. How long does the 20% savings help me to get all my money back? And so in that case, you can, most of these investments, the return on investment is between 3 to 5%. And so the rest, if the life of the machines are anything around 10, 15, or 20%, then you are able to reduce the cost of production without compromising on the quality, or probably even increasing the quality of the products with the newer machines.
Amazing. Let's conclude with what the AGI specifically is doing in terms of helping businesses manage these kinds of challenges we see in the energy sector. I know the AGI, for example, has an energy service center. Are you able to talk to me about it and how you are helping businesses take advantage of that sector to, reduce energy cost?
It is one excellent service that a lot of people have not taken advantage of.
Was it your idea? As share of the energy sector.
I helped in this setup,
okay.
But now it's taken over by a wonderful gentleman called Isaac Batini.
Okay.
But so a lot of companies are thinking about doing solar energy or renewable or alternatives to energy. And with any product, there are different types of product. There is the quality, and then there is the quality of installation, not just the cost, the quality of the product, but the quality of the installation. Then you come to the cost of a new solar system investment. And so there is all those questions that a company has to answer before they make a decision. Which company should I go with? Am I getting a good deal for my solar installation and all that? So the AGI Energy Service Centre is there to answer all those questions. They are not the solar installation company.
So it's more of advisory services.
It's a consultancy and advisory service to walk you through the process and give you the alternatives, even alternatives in financing, alternatives in companies, alternatives in products, but most importantly, to help you start from the energy efficiency that I spoke about earlier. So once they walk you through and help you, work with you to reduce the energy use and makes your systems more efficient, then we go to the next stage of guiding you to get the alternative source of energy. But the work at the service center goes further. They are also into climate change advisory and ensuring that, when you want to be able to offset all your energy savings with carbon emissions by going green, they can advise you on all those aspects.
So if you're a business and you have not taken advantage of the AGI Energy Service Center, the time is now for you to, go to the AGI so that they can consult and even advise you on what to do in terms of bringing down the high cost of energy, which happens to be the most significant aspect of the cost of production. But Kobina, you have been great. Kobina Eric Nyanteh is the executive member of the AGI on energy and also the CEO of Translight Solar Limited. Thank you so much, Kobina, for coming.
It's my pleasure.
My name is Ni Lati. This has been another episode of the Honor Series of the 2026 edition of the Citi Business Festival, powered by 97.3 Citi FM and Channel 1 Television in partnership with Absa Bank. We are sponsored by Absa Bank, MTN, Zondatech Ghana Limited, and Petra Trust. Thank you so much for staying with us. See you some other time.